2019 Ford Focus ST. With its all-new body style, redesigned interior and a 2.3 litre turbocharged EcoBoost engine delivering 280 PS, on paper this car is set to be a brilliant package. Designed to rival the likes of the Golf Gti, Hyundai i30N and even the Civic Type R, this car sits in a very competitive market, but does it have what it takes to stand out from the crowd? Now, I had one of these for a few days back in the summer. Can you remember that? Where temperatures are warm and the sun shines? I thought not. Anyway, now with a week behind the wheel of this one, will my opinions change? Will I still love it? Well, let's find out.
Well, the simple answer to that question is yes. I love this car just as much as the first time I took it out, if not more. Because after driving this car for even longer, I'm getting used to it. And I'm not picking up any bad things about it. I'm just picking up more and more good things about it. Now, it's pretty obvious that this car is just a wicked all-rounder. You drive this along normally, you put it in comfort mode, or normal mode should I say, and it's absolutely fine. But then it's got a different personality. You put it in sport mode and it becomes a little animal. It's unreal, it's brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. And you've got to have the performance pack though. You've got to spec the performance pack, in my opinion, because you gain things that you really need, like the adaptive suspension, which is quite a big thing, and also you get your track mode features, your rev matching, your launch control. So, and it's not that much money, to be fair, so you need to get the performance pack. But this car, I mean, the weather today, it's typically British, it's grey, it's wet. And to be honest, the damp roads, they're not really having too much of a negative effect on this car, considering it's front-wheel drive. It really is taking these roads all in its stride, and I think that is massively helped by the rubber this car wears. This car has got Michelin Pilot Sport 4S tyres from the factory, and they are brilliant tyres. I ran them on my Focus RS for a while. I can't fault them. Both wet and dry grip, they're superb for an all-round tyre. And also this car, as standard, comes with the electronic limited slip differential, which plays a big part in cornering grip. But yeah, the way this thing drives, it's just really good. It's just a really good all-round package. Is it as good as the Golf GTI? Well, with the GTI you can have the DSG equipped gearbox, which is a really good gearbox, but I love the manual. I love the feel of a manual, and if you're not too fussed about having to change gear every now and then I would say this is as good as a GTI, if not better. It's just much more involving, it's more fun, it just gives you that feeling that hot hatch really should give you. I think it's brilliant. I know I keep saying this, but yeah. The gearbox is really nice, feels nice and solid, just takes these corners so well. Accelerate out the corner. If you leave traction control on, it will intervene, but not too much to take away the fun from the experience. So I just leave the traction control on. Now the ride, when you do switch up into sport mode, the ride does become a fair bit firmer. Now, I wouldn't want to have that setting just driving around normally, because it does make things a bit bumpy. But when you're pushing on, it comes into its own. And with the adaptive suspension as well, individually controlling each corner of the car, it's a great feature. So I don't need to bore you with tech specs of this car. Interior features, I've covered that on a previous review, which you can check out if you want to. This is all about the drive, how this car drives. You can go into a dealership, you can look around a car, you can read up about the car, but getting in the car and actually driving it is a different matter. That is more difficult. So I'm hoping in this video I can really share my enthusiasm about this car and kind of give you an insight into what it is actually like to drive. It's so pointy though, it's so sharp, and with new cars they always feel really tight. This is just so nimble and agile, and the steering's really quick. It's just pinpoint precision inputs with the steering. Maybe it could be a little bit heavier when on the move, maybe, but it's there or thereabouts, to be fair. The steering wheel feels lovely in the hand as well. And this particular car, this has covered nearly 3,000 miles now, so it's nicely run in. Whereas the car I had before was pretty much fresh out the factory with just a few hundred miles. But this has really become a lot looser now. It feels really eager to want to push on. And the power delivery, it's just a really smooth, nice progressive power delivery. It's nothing too brutal going on here. So 3,000 revs, if you just accelerate, pin the throttle to the floor. That was just 5,000 revs there, by the way. We don't want to be going fast on a public road. But when you get to 5,000 revs, just keep that throttle pinned. The turbo kind of has a second wind, and it just pulls you all the way up to around 6,500 to 7,000 revs without hesitation. So a nice amount of low down torque as well. It's funny because this kind of has more characteristics of the Fiesta ST. Normally the Focus ST is not quite as focused, excuse the pun, as its younger brother. The younger brother is normally the more agile, more fun version, and the Focus has to be a little bit more sensible because obviously it's just a Ford Focus at the end of the day with a more high-powered engine. So it has to have an element of practicality and kind of fulfill that part of the market as well as being fun. Whereas this, it's got the practicality, it is a Focus, it's got a spacious cabin, a spacious boot, etc, etc, but the driving dynamics are there. It's just got it all, to be honest. Now, have I found any bad things about the car whilst driving it? Not really. Whilst listening to the music earlier, there was a rattle in this door card, but it wouldn't be a Ford without a rattle, would it? And again, as I always say, the looks are, I'm not really going to touch on the looks because it's personal opinion, isn't it? Some people like it, some people don't, some people aren't too bothered, but I'm still not 100% on the looks. And also the fake noise that's pumped into the cabin. I don't think it's really necessary. It'd be nice just to hear the natural sound of the car. The car does sound nice from the outside. You can't really hear the exhaust too much from the inside, but the fake noise which is pumped in, I'm just not really a fan of that these days. It sounds too synthetic. One thing this car does lack though, compared to some of the competition, is a custom drive mode feature. There is no custom drive mode feature. That would be so nice just to be able to tailor one drive mode to your own personal preference. So you could have the rev matching, but with softer suspension maybe, or the pops and bangs just on their own. You know, it'd just be nice to be able to tailor the drive. With Volkswagen, you've got the individual modes. You know, I think Ford are missing the trick there, and if it's possibly something they could bring onto the car as an update, a software update in the future, I think that would be something they should do, just to kind of finish off this car as a package. So yeah, would be nice to have a custom drive mode feature. So there's not really too much else bad to say about the car. The seats are really comfortable, they've got excellent support. You can have these seats really low as well. Compared to my Mark II RS, you can sit really low in these seats. You feel like you're properly on the floor, and it just gives you that more sporty feeling. You've got good lumbar support as well, lots of adjustments electronically, and the cabin in general is just a really nice place to be. Making progress in this car, you can rattle through the gears effortlessly. You can sit on a motorway, cruise along, you can do the trip to Europe, to the Nürburgring, you can get there in comfort, and then get on the Nürburgring itself, and then it's playtime. I'm sure you've all seen that video of the Focus ST on the Nürburgring, where the guy is inducing quite a lot of oversteer. Very playful chassis. So yeah, I think Ford have done a really good job, especially in this day and age where it's becoming difficult now to kind of have those exciting hot hatches. Things are becoming a bit more neutral. You know, there are various laws now, emission laws, etc. Cars that have GPF filters on the exhaust, they're quiet, you know, that kind of thing. It's becoming more and more difficult to make a hot hatch really exciting, but I think Ford with this car have done it. And I don't know if there's going to be an RS, but if there will be an RS of this generation, the Mark IV, from what I'm seeing from this ST, the RS is going to be really good. But I don't know what engine they're going to put in the RS, because they've already used this engine in the Mark III, so will it be a hybrid power unit? I don't know, but RS is normally better than the ST. Well, it always is better than the ST, so that is looking promising if there is an RS on the horizon. You know what, guys, I like fettling around with cars, you know, modifying cars, but I really do think if you start modifying this car, you're going to ruin it. This car just feels so well sorted out the box. Everything is so finely balanced and perfectly kind of weighted, and the ratio between the power and the usability is just on point. And I think if you start messing around with this car, you could risk ruining it. That's just my thoughts initially, but more power is normally good, but this just seems to be the perfect amount of usable power for this car, particularly in these conditions.
So there we have it, the all-new Ford Focus ST. It's fast, fun, and practical, which ticks all of the boxes for what you need in a modern day hot hatch. I've really enjoyed my time with this car, and to summarise in short, I think that it's absolutely brilliant. Bravo, Ford.